The chilling reality of a child's existence hits you like a punch to the gut. 10-year-old Camila wakes before dawn, the concrete floor biting through the thin blanket she salvaged from a dumpster weeks ago. Her small body protests with every bone as she slowly sits up. Another night spent on the hard ground. The Tecnosoluciones Vargas factory is silent at this hour. Only the distant hum of machines that never stop and the constant drip of a broken pipe somewhere in the ceiling can be heard. Camila knows every sound of this place. She has been living hidden in the abandoned wing for 3 months, ever since her father died. Before that, they lived in a small house near the factory. Her father, Miguel, was a mechanic right here. He had magic hands for fixing any machine. "Machines talk, mijita," he always told her. "You just have to know how to listen to them." But a crane accident took him suddenly. Without family and no money for rent, Camila ended up on the street. The neighbors tried to help, but everyone had their own problems. No one could take care of another child. That's when she remembered her father's words about knowing the factory like the back of her hand. She had come here so many times during vacations that she knew where the unguarded entrances were. The old wing, where broken machinery was stored, became her refuge. Camila gets up and carefully folds her blanket. Everything has its place in the small corner she has made her own, behind a rusty machine. There she keeps her treasures. 3 engineering books she rescued from the trash, a screwdriver that belonged to her father, and a photo of the 2 of them smiling. Hunger gnaws at her stomach, but she's used to it. She knows that in an hour, Doña Carmen, the morning shift cleaning lady, will arrive. She always leaves half a sandwich on her desk. Camila waits for her to leave and borrows it, as she tells herself to feel less bad. While waiting, she takes out one of her books. The pages are yellowed, and some are torn, but the words are still there. She reads about gears and motors, about how small parts can move enormous things. She doesn't understand everything, but every day she understands a little more. Her father was right about listening to the machines. Camila has developed an incredible ear. She can tell if a machine is going to fail just by the sound it makes. It's as if the machines really talk to her, telling her their secrets. Doña Carmen's footsteps echo in the hallway. Camila closes the book and hides. She waits patiently until the footsteps fade away. Then she comes out of her hiding place. The morning ritual is about to begin. She walks barefoot through the cold corridors, sticking to the walls like a shadow. She knows the schedules of all the workers. She knows when she can move unseen. It's like a dangerous game she has learned to master. On Doña Carmen's desk, she finds the sandwich waiting for her. Ham and cheese, her favorite. She eats slowly, savoring every bite. She doesn't know when her next meal will be. Afterward, she heads to her favorite spot, the high window overlooking the main production area. From there, she can see everything that happens without anyone seeing her. Workers arrive, machines come to life, and the factory awakens like a mechanical giant. Camila observes and learns. She sees how technicians check the machines, how they adjust controls, how they solve problems. Everything is recorded in her mind like a sponge absorbing knowledge. But something has been worrying her lately. She has been listening to conversations between the bosses. They talk about money problems, about machines that don't work, about the possibility of closing the factory. Her secret home could disappear. Fear invades her for a moment, but then she remembers her father's words. "You're stronger than you think, Camila, and smarter too." Maybe she's only 10 years old. Maybe she's alone in the world. But she has something no one else has. She can hear what the machines are really saying, and something tells her she's going to need to use that gift soon. Morning progresses, and Camila returns to her hiding place. tomorrow will be another day of survival, another day of learning, another day of hoping her luck doesn't run out. She doesn't know that her life is about to change forever. Rain beats heavily against the factory windows. Camila is curled up in her hiding place, trying to stay dry. The abandoned wing's roof leaks, and water falls into several strategically placed buckets. The sound of falling water reminds her of a song her father used to sing. It's almost 10 at night when she hears voices in the main hallway. This is unusual. At this hour, only the security guards are left, and they never come to this area. Camila peeks carefully from her refuge. 3 men walk quickly down the corridor. She recognizes their voices. They are company directors. The tallest is Don Roberto, the general manager. The other 2 are important engineers who always wear expensive suits. "We have to find a solution now," Don Roberto says in a tense voice. "The bank is only giving us 2 more months. If the T-97 engine doesn't work by then, we lose everything." Camila presses herself further against the wall. She has heard of the T-97 engine before. It's an enormous machine in the most restricted sector of the factory. No one talks much about it, but she knows it's important. "We've been trying to make it work for 10 years, one of the engineers replies. "We've spent 40 million pesos on that project. The best technicians in the country have come to check it, and no one can find the problem." "Well, you'd better find it," Don Roberto says, stopping right in front of Camila's hiding place. "That engine is our last hope. If it works, we can get the contract with the American company. If not," his voice trails off with a sigh. The men continue walking, and their voices fade away. Camila is left thinking about what she just heard. 40 million pesos. It's more money than she can imagine, and it all depends on a machine that doesn't work. The next day, curiosity gnaws at her. During her morning rounds through the factory, she decides to venture toward the sector where the famous engine is. She has never gone so far, but she needs to see it. The area is more guarded than the rest of the factory. Camila waits patiently until the guard goes to lunch. Then, using a ventilation shaft she discovered weeks ago, she manages to reach a position where she can see the T-97 engine. It's impressive. The machine is the size of a small car, with shiny tubes and panels full of buttons and lights. Several technicians work around it with frustrated faces. One of them hits a tool against a table. "I don't know what else to do," the technician says. "We've checked every screw, every wire, every circuit. Everything is perfect according to the manuals, but when we turn it on, it shuts down after 5 minutes." Camila watches fascinated. The engine has a strange beauty, like a giant metal puzzle. She stays there for hours, memorizing every detail, every sound it makes when the technicians try to start it. And that's when she hears it. A very subtle sound, almost imperceptible. It's like a very low whistle coming from somewhere inside the engine. The technicians don't notice it because they are too concentrated on the screens and gauges. But Camila hears it. Her father had taught her that strange sounds always mean something. When a machine makes a noise it shouldn't make, it's asking for help, he used to say. The whistle repeats every time they try to start the engine. Camila closes her eyes and concentrates. The sound comes from the left side, near where the thickest tubes are. Something there is not right. Over the next few days, Camila religiously returns to observe the engine. She studies every repair attempt, every test the technicians perform. Little by little, she begins to understand how the machine works. At night, she returns to her hiding place and goes over everything in her mind. She draws diagrams on scraps of paper she finds, trying to solve the mystery. Her engineering books take on new meaning now that she has a real machine to study. One night, as it rains again, Camila has a revelation. The sound she hears doesn't come from a broken part. It comes from something blocking the flow of air or fuel. Something small, something the technicians can't see because it's in a hard-to-reach place. She sits on her blanket, her eyes shining with excitement. She thinks she knows what the problem is, but now comes the hard part. What is she going to do with that information? She's only a 10-year-old girl, living hidden in a factory. No one will listen to her. No one will believe that she can solve what the best engineers haven't been able to. But the engine keeps whistling, asking for help, and Camila knows she might be the only one who understands what it's saying. 2 weeks have passed since Camila discovered the strange whistle of the T-97 engine. Every night, she stays awake thinking about that sound, mentally drawing the tubes and connections she has memorized. The problem is there, she knows, but she needs to be sure before doing anything. During the day, she watches the technicians work with increasing desperation. She has heard that Don Roberto comes every day to ask about the progress. The workers' faces look more worried. Some talk in low voices about looking for another job. Camila feels a weight in her chest. These people are going to lose their jobs because of a machine she believes she can fix. But how can a hidden child help adults who have studied for years? One afternoon, while exploring a new part of the abandoned wing, she makes an important discovery. Behind a pile of old boxes, she finds an entrance to the factory's technical pipes. It's like a small tunnel that connects different parts of the building. Her father had told her about these tunnels. They were built so technicians could move around without interrupting production, he had explained. But now almost no one uses them because they are very narrow. Camila smiles. Narrow for an adult, but perfect for a small child like her. That night, when the factory is silent, she decides to explore the tunnel. She crawls carefully with a small flashlight she found in the trash. The space is narrow and smells of old metal, but she isn't afraid. She has lived through worse things. After crawling for several minutes, she reaches a ventilation grate. Looking through it, she can't believe what she sees. She is directly above the T-97 engine. From here, she can see parts of the machine that even the technicians can't easily reach. Her heart beats fast with excitement. She carefully loosens the screws on the grate with her father's screwdriver. The screws are rusty, but they give way after several minutes of silent work. Now she can go directly down to the engine area. It's perfect. The guards don't patrol this area at night because they think it's completely sealed. Camila descends slowly, using some pipes as a ladder. Her bare feet make no sound when they touch the floor. She's inside. She's actually next to the T-97 engine. Up close, the machine is even more impressive. The tubes glow under the emergency light, and she can hear a very low hum, as if it were sleeping. Camila takes a deep breath and approaches the place where she thinks the problem is. She uses her flashlight to check the area where she heard the whistle. There, in a connection between two large tubes, she sees something that makes her smile. A small metal fragment, probably from a previous repair, is partially blocking the passage. It's so small that only someone looking from this specific angle could see it. The technicians always check the engine from the front and sides, but never from above. Very carefully, Camila uses her screwdriver to remove the fragment. It's harder than she thought, because it's well lodged, but she finally manages. The small piece of metal falls into her hand. But that's not all. While she has the tools in her hand, she notices that some connections are loose. These are adjustments that require strength, but also delicacy. Her small hands can reach places where an adult's hands cannot fit. She works for almost an hour, adjusting screws and aligning parts. Everything she does is based on what she has learned from her books and from observing the technicians. But she also trusts something else, the feeling that the machines are really talking to her. When she finishes, the engine looks exactly the same as before. No one will notice that someone touched it. But Camilla knows that something is different now. The whistle is no longer there. She returns through the tunnel with her heart beating fast. She has done something incredible, but also something dangerous. If she is discovered, she will be in big trouble. But if she is right, tomorrow the T-97 engine will work for the first time in 10 years. Back in her hiding place, Camilla puts the small metal fragment in her treasure box. It's proof of what she did, even if no one else knows. She lies down on her blanket, but she can't sleep. Tomorrow, she will know if her bravery was worth anything. Tomorrow, she will discover if a 10-year-old girl can save an entire factory. Hours pass slowly until dawn. Camilla hasn't slept at all. She has been awake all night, waiting for morning to come. Every noise makes her jump. Every step in the hallway makes her nervous. What if someone noticed what she did? What if the security cameras recorded her? At 6 in the morning, she hears the first voices in the T-97 engine area. The technicians arrive early today, as always. Camilla crawls to her observation position, her heart pounding so hard she is sure someone will hear it. "Well, let's try again," the chief engineer says in a tired voice. "If it doesn't work today, Don Roberto is going to explode." Camilla watches as they connect the cables and check the screens. Everything looks normal. The technicians make the usual preparations, unaware that during the night someone touched their machine. "Ready," one of them says. "Let's turn it on." The chief engineer presses the button. The T-97 engine begins to vibrate gently. Then, a growing hum is heard. Camilla holds her breath. 5 minutes pass. The machine is still running. "What's happening?" a technician asks. It normally would have shut down by now. 10 minutes pass. The engine is still running perfectly. "It can't be," the chief engineer whispers. "Check the connections. Check everything." The technicians run back and forth, checking gauges and screens. Everything is working as it should. The T-97 engine, after 10 years of problems, is finally working. "It works!" one of the technicians shouts. "It really works!" The news spreads throughout the factory like wildfire. Camilla watches as workers peek out to see the miracle. Some cry with joy. Others hug each other. Everyone knows what this means. Their jobs are safe. After 20 minutes, Don Roberto arrives running. He is an older man, with gray hair and an elegant suit. But today, he runs like a young man. His face shows a mixture of disbelief and hope. "Is it true?" he asks breathlessly. "Is it really working?" "Yes, sir," the chief engineer replies. "It's been half an hour, and it hasn't failed once. All systems are perfect." Don Roberto approaches the engine as if it were something sacred. He looks at it with shining eyes. Camilla can see tears on his face. "It's a miracle," he says softly. "A true miracle." Soon, more directors arrive, more engineers, more important workers. Everyone wants to see the machine that finally works. The area fills with celebrating people. "We have to find out what happened," Don Roberto says. "What did you do differently yesterday?" The technicians look at each other, confused. "Nothing, sir," the chief engineer replies. "We did exactly the same as always. We don't understand what changed." "Well, it doesn't matter," Don Roberto says with a huge smile. "The important thing is that it works. We're calling the Americans immediately. The contract will be ours." But then his expression turns serious. "I want you to reinforce security here. If someone touched this machine without authorization, I need to know. Install more cameras. Put more guards. This engine cannot fail again." Camilla feels a chill. More security means more danger for her, but at the same time she feels proud. She did this. She saved the factory. Throughout the day, the engine continues to run perfectly. The technicians perform test after test, but everything goes well. It's as if the machine decided to wake up after a long sleep. In the afternoon, Don Roberto organizes a celebration in the main dining hall. He invites all the workers. There's music, food, and much joy. From her hiding place, Camila can hear the laughter and applause. "Co-workers," Don Roberto says into the microphone. "Today is a historic day for Tecnosoluciones Vargas. After 10 years, the T97 engine finally works. This means we have a future. This means we all have secure jobs." The applause is deafening. Camila smiles from her dark corner. No one knows that a 10-year-old girl is responsible for all this happiness. But her joy is short-lived. That night, when she goes to look for food, she notices that there are more guards patrolling. The new cameras are being installed. Her life has just become much more complicated. She lies down on her blanket, listening to the sounds of the celebration that continues in the distance. She has won a battle, but the war for survival is just beginning, and something tells her that things are going to get much more complicated soon. 3 days have passed since the miracle of the T97 engine. Camila has had to change her entire routine due to the new security. Guards patrol more often, and cameras cover almost all the main corridors. Now she has to move like a ghost, more carefully than ever. The celebration at the factory continues. Don Roberto has confirmed that the Americans will sign the contract next week. The workers are happier than ever. Camila listens to their conversations, full of hope for the future, but something worries her. During her observations, she has noticed Ivan, the chief engineer's assistant, behaving strangely. He is a young man, always with an angry face, who speaks little with his colleagues. 2 days ago, Camila saw him checking the T97 engine when everyone else had left. He wasn't doing normal repairs. He was touching connections he shouldn't touch, loosening screws that were tightly fastened. Why would he do that, Camila wonders. Then she remembers a conversation she overheard last week. Ivan was complaining to another worker that he was never taken into account, that the chief engineer took all the credit for his work. "I've been here for 5 years, and I'm still just an assistant," he had said in a bitter voice. Meanwhile, others who arrived after me are already area managers. Camila begins to connect the dots. If the engine fails now, after having worked perfectly, the chief engineer would look very bad. Maybe Ivan thinks that way he could take his place. Tonight there is another celebration. Don Roberto has invited important clients and the local press. He wants to show the engine working so that everyone sees that Tecnosoluciones Vargas is back. Camila decides to stay awake to keep watch. Something bad is going to happen. She feels it in her stomach. At 8 o'clock at night, the main hall is full of elegant people. Camila can see the lights and hear the music from her hiding place. Don Roberto is giving speeches about the company's bright future, but she is focused on the engine area. Ivan is there, supposedly checking that everything is ready for the demonstration, but Camila sees him touching things he shouldn't touch. At 9, all the guests go to the engine area for the grand demonstration. Camila positions herself in the best place to see everything. Her heart beats fast. She knows something terrible is about to happen. "Ladies and gentlemen," Don Roberto says proudly, "I'm going to show you the engine that saved our company. The T97 engine, working after 10 years. The chief engineer approaches the controls. He presses the start button. The engine begins to vibrate normally. The guests applaud, but Camila hears something others don't notice, a different sound, like a whistle that shouldn't be there. Ivan has sabotaged something. 5 minutes pass. The engine keeps running, but the strange sound gets louder. Camila wants to scream, but she can't. No one would listen to her, and she would reveal her hiding place. Suddenly, the engine begins to vibrate violently. The panel lights flicker. The chief engineer looks confused. "What's happening?" Don Roberto asks. "I don't know," the chief engineer replies, desperately checking the controls. "Everything was fine 5 minutes ago." The engine makes a terrible noise, as if it were tearing itself apart from the inside. Then, sparks begin to fly. The guests recoil in fright. "Turn it off!" Don Roberto shouts. But it's too late. The engine completely collapses. Smoke comes from several places. The sparks get bigger. Someone shouts, "Fire!" and everyone runs towards the exits. Camila sees Don Roberto's face. He is destroyed. His dream crumbles in front of the most important clients. The guests run out, some taking photos with their phones. Tomorrow, the whole city will know that Tecnosoluciones Vargas cannot control its own machines. But Camila also sees something else. She sees Ivan in a corner, trying not to smile. His plan worked perfectly. The girl feels a rage she had never felt. These good people are going to lose their jobs because of a selfish man. Don Roberto, who treats his employees well, is going to lose his company. And all because of one person's envy. The firefighters arrive and extinguish the small fire. The guests leave. The workers stand looking at the destroyed engine with sad faces. Camila knows she has to do something, but this time she can't fix the machine in secret. This time, she has to come out of the shadows. This time, she has to be brave in a completely different way. The T-97 engine area is in chaos. The firefighters have finished putting out the fire, but smoke still hangs in the air. Don Roberto is sitting in a chair, his head in his hands. The workers whisper among themselves, looking at the remains of their only hope. Camila watches from her hiding place, her heart pounding. She knows what Ivan did. She saw him sabotage the cooling system and loosen the central shaft screws. But how can a 10-year-old girl living in hiding convince all these adults? "Mr. Vargas," the chief engineer says in a broken voice, "I don't understand what happened. Yesterday it was working perfectly. We did all the checks." The clients left laughing. Don Roberto replies, without lifting his head. "Tomorrow everyone will know we're a failure. The contract with the Americans is lost forever." Ivan stands nearby, feigning concern. "Perhaps we should check who had access to the engine," he says in a calculated voice. "Someone might have touched something." Camila feels her blood boil. She can't stay silent any longer. Her father had told her that good people have to defend good people. And Don Roberto is good.